Hey everyone. Let me put my information in here while y'all tapping in. Hi. Some of you who don't know me, my name is Erica Leshai, and I'm a musician at heart. I like to do a little sound check, so if you can give me a thumbs up emoji if you can hear me, that would be dope. While I try to pin this comment. I'm so terrible at pinning comments, y'all. It's like Here we go. All right. So, do we have any thumbs up emojis? Y'all hear me all right? Okay, cool. I see them. All right, so I'm going to get right into it. Yesterday, I posted a video on being black first, right? I posted a video talking about how we are black before we're anything else, right? And from a lot of the different reposts that I'm seeing on different pages that people are misinterpreting what I said. They're interpreting what I said to be, we should support all black people throughout their foolishness, right? And I don't even know how it can be misinterpreted in such a way, because I don't say anything remotely close to that. I don't say anything that even insinuates something like that. But, people just want something to be mad about. They want something to be outraged about or whatever. So, to be clear, I stand behind what I said, and I always do. I'm not one to be going back oh, what I meant to say was, no, I said what I said. And what I said is that I'm black first over everything, over being a woman, over being all the other different movements I can attach myself to, over Me Too, over feminism, over all of that. I'm black first. And then my woman identity comes in after that. You know what I'm saying? And the reason being is the examples that I gave was Jussie Smollett and Jordan Woods, right? Now, this isn't to condone any of the behavior. It is not to justify or be in support of any wrongdoing that they have allegedly done, right? It's not to cape for them in that way, but it's to understand who had their back throughout this ordeal, A lot of times we see black people getting dragged in the media for a lot of different things. We see them getting, a harsher, not sentence, but people are just much harsher on black people as a whole. And we can be naive as black people and say that it doesn't have anything to do with race, but it most definitely does. Jussie Smollett is a homosexual man, and he's very open about his homosexuality, right? Now, when all of this started and the Chicago police started putting out all this information and all this evidence that they said that they had against him, it was not the LGBT community that I saw that was saying, you know what, let's wait until we hear all the facts. They're not saying, oh, wait a minute, hold on, let's not, the man, he's not going to be on the end season of the show, as what I heard. The police are trying to arrest him, and it's black people. It's black people who were saying, all right, even if he did lie, even if he made the whole thing up, I don't think he should go to prison for it. That's what I saw from black people, gay or straight. We were the ones. And all I'm saying is that if you think that attaching yourself to some other movement is going to absolve you of your blackness, you are wrong. You will swiftly be reminded that no matter if you identify as a feminist, whether or not if you identify as gay or trans or whatever, when shit hits the fan, you're black. And the whole world is going to paint you as that. And you can be naive and say, oh, I'm human first. Even religious beliefs. We could say that I'm a Muslim first, I'm this or I'm that. But you know what? That community or that movement is not going to have your back like black people will. You know what I'm saying? And what I was talking about with Jordan Woods, me personally, I don't know the situation from what she said. She had her legs laying over the man's lap and he kissed her, right? Now, granted, we've been knowing he out of pocket. He's been shady. He's been shady from jump. He's been a low down dirty dog, in my opinion. But what she did was shady too. I mean, those supposed to be your homegirls. That's not right. So no one is condoning that type of behavior. But while the media is ripping her to shreds, which in my opinion is not justified for people to be going to her page and wishing death upon her and all that type of stuff. It's not that deep. It's not that deep. You feel me? But while the media is ripping her to shreds, who comes to her defense? Is it feminism as a whole? Is it feminism? Is it white feminists saying, you know what? Tristan has been terrible. Let's not get on him when he targeted this girl and she was drunk or whatever. It's not them saying that. It's black people saying, all right, look, what we're not about to do is try to destroy this whole girl's life. That's all. That's the point that I'm making. Because when we want to, and the reason why this is a problem for me is because we as black people are so uncertain in our own blackness. We're so unsure of our own blackness. We're so afraid to fully claim it that we associate ourselves with any other movement that helps us feel like we are absolved of some of our blackness. That's what we do. We attach ourselves to the LGBTQ community because we don't feel as black anymore. We feel like we identify, like we have a place of belonging there, you know? And women aren't exempt. Black women, we attach ourselves to feminism. We attach ourselves to Me Too and all of that because we feel a sisterhood, a camaraderie amongst all women. But I'm telling you that don't work. I'm telling you it doesn't work. You know how I know it doesn't work? Where was feminism? Where did feminism have black women's back when black women were going on and talking about how we don't get paid as much? When Monique was screaming for attention, where was feminism then? Did they cape for her, or did she have to rely on her own blackness? I'm just saying, where was feminism then? Where was feminism? And it really should have showed up at this point. Where was feminism when we were voting? When white feminists put Donald Trump in office, where was feminism then? Where was it? Somebody let me know. Let me know where they were caping for us. So that's the point that I'm making. You can try to absolve yourself of your blackness as much as you want to, but you can't. You feel me? And if you try to, this world is going to remind you that you are black and that you're not getting away from it. Get in some trouble if you want to and see what movements stand up for you. See if it's going to be black people that's going to have your back. And that's the point I'm making. That's why I'm saying I'm black first before any of this. Because I know that if I fall to the wayside, if some come out with me or whatever, if people are down my back and upset with me, it's not going to be feminist. It's not going to be the LGBTQ community. It's not going to be none of that. It's going to be black people that's going to have my back. Because we are the most empathetic people. Because we know what it's like better than anybody in the world what it means to be disenfranchised in this country. We know better than the feminists. We know better than the LGBTQ community. And it's not to take away the fact that they have their struggles and their problems too, because we understand that. And that's why we involve ourselves in those movements, because these are real issues that need to be addressed. But at the same time, don't sidestep your blackness for that, is the point that I'm making. That's the point that I'm making. Okay? Because every time it's always the same thing. You know, we can pretend like that's not how the world operates. We can say, oh, I'm human first, or I'm, Christian first, or I'm Muslim first and all that. But in a utopian society, yeah, that would be a wonderful thing. We would be able to frolic all through the tulips together, holding hands like the rainbow tribe. You feel me? That's how it would be. But that's not the way the world works. I'm just realistic enough to admit it. And black people, we got to stop being so naive to where we don't understand that simple fact that before anybody in the world sees you as anything, well, I won't say in the world, because in other countries, a lot of times we're seen as just Americans, right? But when you are in the United States of America, for black people living in America, you feel me? We are seen as black before anything. No one comes to us and be like, oh, that's a Christian black person, or that's a feminist black person, or that's a LGBTQ black person. No. You black first. You are black first. You feel me? And I know some people might not like hearing this. It may get on their nerves. They may not want to understand this simple fact, but it's a simple fact. And I take back nothing of what I said, because I don't do that. There's too many people apologizing for what they say, and I'm not one of them. And I never will be. So if I say something, I stand on what I say. And if you offended, you offended. Oh, well. Oh, well. I'm not here to make everybody feel good. I'm not here to make everybody happy about what I'm talking about. I'm not here to make everybody agree with me. I'm here to say what's on my mind. And this is what's on my mind. It's an opinion. Now, if you don't like the opinion, that's fine. You don't have to like the opinion, but it's not going to stop me from saying it. And it's not going to stop me from acknowledging the real world that we live in. You know what I'm saying? It's black over everything. And we're so afraid to say that, as if every other race in the world doesn't operate like that. Like, we have to say, like, oh, let's black love. We have to say like that's a thing, as if every other race doesn't already operate like that. Like, that's an unspoken rule in all other cultures. You know, you're expected to date within your race. But black people, we have to say it. And if we say it, our own people think that it's racist. So we're trying to absolve ourselves so much of our own blackness that we just pick up whatever movement is popular because we feel we belong there. Why don't you belong in your blackness, though? You feel me? Why don't you belong here? Why not? Why not belong in your blackness? Okay? And that's what I'm belonging in. I know that I'm a woman. I know that that there's issues that women face, you know? But the type of issues that a black woman faces is not the same type of issues that a white woman is going to face. Okay? It's just not the same type of issues. And the reason being is because I say this all the time, but while they were, you know, doing the women's liberation movement and fighting to get out their kitchens, it was our grandmothers who were getting into their kitchens, being their cooks and nannies. So we wasn't fighting the same battle. We weren't fighting the same battle, and we're currently not fighting the same battle. You know what I'm saying? Because white people know how to put white first. They know how to band together to uphold white supremacy. We saw that in the elections, did we not? Did we not see white women and white men band together to uphold white supremacy? And y'all getting on my head about this, but white feminists aren't even feminists first. They're not even feminists first. The proof is the president that we have. But we have so many black women saying that I'm a feminist first. White feminists aren't even feminists first. They will sidestep feminism to uphold white supremacy, which is exactly what they did in this election that got Donald Trump elected. They know that he was a misogynist. They know that this man has been accused of all sorts of sexual abuse, but they didn't care because they're white first and they have to do whatever it takes to uphold white supremacy. But y'all don't see that. Something wrong with me for saying black first. Something's wrong with me for being able to realize that and acknowledge it. You know, I'm wrong for that. People saying that what I was saying was justifying or condoning crazy behavior from black people. Never that. But what I'm not going to do is going to be one of the troll people in the comments, even though I don't agree. Honestly, I don't know what the facts are with Jussie Smollett and the police, but I've said this before. I don't believe either. I believe Jussie Smollett is on some nonsense because his story don't make sense to me. I mean, it was dummy cold, and you telling me at 2 o'clock in the morning, you walk into Subway, of all places, in the cold. It was dummy cold. This when Chicago was going through like that crazy weather where it was negative degrees outside. You mean to tell me that you walking, you ain't take a Uber, you ain't do a Postmates, you didn't do a Uber Eats, you walked to Subway 2 o'clock in the morning when it's that damn cold in Chicago? It's not what the police saying that make me question what Jussie Smollett said. It's what he said. That don't make no damn sense. I ain't a celebrity, but if it get less than 50 degrees outside, you better believe I'm postmating. I ain't about to be outside. That's cold to me. I live in California. That's cold. I ain't about to be going outside doing all that extra stuff. Damn sure I ain't doing it at 2 o'clock in the morning. But anyway, that's beside the point. So I don't believe that he telling the truth, and I don't believe the police telling the truth. These are the same police that killed Fred Hampton and Bobby Hutton. These are the same Chicago police that I can't think of the girl's name, but we had to wait forever to see footage of the girl that had died in the freezer. But now they have all this footage and all this evidence and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying that there's foul play on both ends, in my opinion. So whether or not, but I'm not condoning it is the point I'm making. And in my video, not once did I say like we should support Jussie Smollett or we should support Jordan Woods. All I was saying is that they're realizing that they're black and that we have to put black first because that's the way that the world works. That's the way that America works at this point. You know, we don't get to move like I don't get to say like, oh, because I'm a part of the LGBTQ community, I'm no longer going to be discriminated against because of my blackness. Like everyone else is going to see that first. They're not going to see that first. They don't care. They don't care who you're having sex with. They don't. They just see what you look like and discriminate on you based on that. Tell you that you can't get certain loans, tell you that you can't get certain jobs, all of that. It ain't got nothing to do. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it might. But those are things that could be hidden. I'm a brown-skinned black woman. I can't hide my blackness. If I was homosexual, I could hide that. I could pretend that I was straight. And no one would ever know the wiser. But this, This right here can't be hid. You feel me? My gender can't even be hid, so to speak. I can walk around and pull my hair back and look like a man if I wanted to. But there's nothing about my skin color that can be hidden. I can't do nothing about that. It is what it is. And it's not like I'd want to. It's not like I want to do anything about it. Putting black first to me is not something that I have to do. It's something that I want to. Because it's dope being black. I don't know like if anyone understands that principle, why we try to remove ourselves from the black struggle, why do we try to absolve ourselves of our blackness by taking on these other movements. I don't understand why we do that in the first place. You know what I'm saying? That's not something that I could get behind or something that I even understand. Because I know a lot of people might have grown up like wishing that they were white or anything, you know, or having those type of like ideas in their mind. I was fortunate that I was raised in a household where my parents were always pro-black, and I never had that feeling of inferiority. Never. I was more militant when I was little than I am now. Because when I was little, that's when it was fresh. When I fresh learned about slavery and all that when I was 7 years old. And I became the most militant little girl you would ever see. I had a folder at school. This is my school folder that my teachers would see. And it said, "Say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. Say it low, you white and you slow. I promise you." It was a yellow folder, and that's what I wrote on the front of it. And that's just where I was. Like, when you learn about your history, it ignites a fire in you, and it makes you angry. You know, I'm not saying that it was right to put that on my folder, but it made me very angry. It made me very angry to hear these stories of these men who would take Frederick Douglass' auntie and whip her because she had a nice shape. You know what I'm saying? They would want to see her naked and want to see the blood dripping down her body. Like, that aroused those sick people. So yeah, learning about that at 7 years old, I was hot. I was hot when I learned about it, and I didn't want to deal with white people. But you know what? It was better that I hated white people for a couple of years than for me to hate myself my whole life. Because learning about all that will ignite a fire in you, and you will have hatred somewhere, but it'll dissolve. But I'd rather hate that for a short period of time than to hate myself my whole life. Because that's what would have happened if I hadn't learned about it. I would be walking around hating myself, hating my lips, hating my nose, hating my hair, hating my skin. End up trying to absolve myself from my blackness by attaching myself to these movements that don't give a damn about me in the end. So that's why I guess I have a hard time understanding why we try to sidestep our blackness or put it on the back burner or pretend like we're other things when we're not. You black first. You feel me? Who you love, who you decide to have sex with does not define you. It doesn't. But you know something that does? Your blackness. Being black is not just like a lot of people will say that, you know, why do we talk about race and all that type of stuff? Like, we're the same color on the inside. We're all the same on the inside. We're actually not. We're not all the same on the inside, and we're not all the same on the outside. We're different. The reason why we're not all the same on the inside, is how can scientists go back and look at fossils that don't have any skin and tell what type of person it was? It's because we're different. We're not all the same on the inside. You feel me? We're not. And I won't even get all into that because that's a whole nother topic. But we're not all the same on the inside. Well, I will get into it a little bit because I love science and I love genetics. And I'm going to talk about it. I don't know if you guys know about dominant and recessive alleles and Punnett squares and Gregor Mendel and all that type of stuff. But I'm just going to talk about it for a little bit. Recessive alleles are basically genetic mistakes, right? It's something that happened. It's a genetic abnormality. And because it's an abnormality and it's something that's not really supposed to be there, it's recessive, which means that it's something that's suppressed. Now, dominant genes are genes that are the best for survival, right? Everything that we are as people is equipping us for survival. It's called natural selection, aka survival of the fittest, right? And it talks about how dominant genes will be more overbearing than recessive genes. Here's an example. I'm a black woman, right? Say I get with a white man and he has blue eyes. The blue eye gene is a recessive allele, meaning that it's not dominant. It's not something that's going to take power over the brown eye gene. Brown eye gene is dominant. So if I get with a white man, there's only a 25% chance based on genetics that our children would have blue eyes. Our children are 75% likely to have brown eyes because of me, despite the fact that I'm the woman and the man carries the seed. Because most black genes are dominant. That doesn't mean that black genes can't be breeded out It just means that when they are present, they take hold. You will see those dominant genes activated. You will see that brown eye, the brown skin, the curly hair. All of these is genetics, and all of these genes are dominant. And the reason why they're dominant is because they are the most equipped for survival. You wonder why we have an excess of melanin? Is because the sun produces ultraviolet rays, right? And we take that in. Our melanin helps to protect us from the sun. It protects us from the ultraviolet radiation, which is the reason why people get cancer and things like that, because of radiation. It protects us from the radiation, at the same time letting in just enough sunshine to give us our daily supply of vitamin D, which is imperative. You have to have vitamin D, right? Blonde hair, that is another recessive trait. You know what I'm saying? And I know people ain't gonna like this, but this is science. You can't call me a racist for quoting scientific facts. That's a vitamin K deficiency. When you have enough vitamins, then you have dominant genes, and you have like dark colored hair. So that's the point that I'm making. Okay, I know it might sound a little harsh, but this is the reason why I love learning so much, because it only affirms what I already know. So that's what I mean. You know, when we talk about we're all the same and all this type, we're not all the same. We're a little different. Black people have the most diverse gene pool. There could be one black person standing in a room full of 30 white people, and that one black person will have more genetic variation than the 30 white people combined. And the reason why genetic variation is important is because it helps you survive. The more genetic variation that's in your genes, the better chance you have of being able to adapt and change to the environment around you. Okay? So that's the reason why I've never tried to sidestep my blackness. Why would I try to sidestep something like that? Why would I try to absolve myself of my blackness and take on any other kind of movement? I'm so unapologetically black, it's ridiculous. It's crazy. And it scares me sometimes. But, you know, I like it. I like what I am, and I'm smart enough to know the science behind what I am. Know the science behind mitochondrial DNA and the fact that black women are the only ones that have it and carry it, that can be traced to the mother of civilization. You feel me? Look it up if y'all don't believe me. Mitochondrial DNA, all the stuff that I'm saying this isn't science fiction, you guys. This is facts. Biology was one of my favorite subjects. I was a geek in school, just so you guys know a little bit about me. I was a total geek. I was a band geek. I was in marching band, and I took like all AP classes, and AP science was my favorite. I took AP biology. I took AP chemistry. I took anatomy and physiology, and then when I went to college, I took biology, and I took biology lab. So I've dissected hearts. I've dissected all sorts of things, human cadavers and everything like that. So this is something that I'm passionate about. Something that greatly interests me is the human body and the human genome. So that's the reason why I know all this seemingly random information. But the whole point of me saying this is to let everybody know that you shouldn't try to sidestep your blackness. Okay? You shouldn't try to trade it in for other movements, because these other movements ain't gonna have your back like you think they will. They're gonna remind you very quickly, even if you try to forget yourself, that you're black. Okay? So that's all I'm saying. I don't know how long I've been talking on. I normally have a watch on, but I don't have one on today. But that's just what I wanted to let you all know, you know, because a lot of people don't understand that fact, and we have to understand what we are. The crazy thing is that everyone else knows what we are but us. Nobody, we are the most, and I'm not afraid to say it, y'all. We are the most powerful people on this earth, but we don't know it. It's like we walking around with $1 million in the bank, but we don't have access to it. We don't know that it exists, but everyone else does, and they're tapping into our funds. Everyone else is tapping into our funds but us, because we don't have access to it. Everyone. And I'm just going to say this. If our genetic information wasn't so valuable, why did they steal it? You guys know who Henrietta Lacks is? You guys know who she is? The reason why scientists know as much as they do about genetics, the reason why we have all of these different cleaning agents like Lysol and things of that nature is because of a black woman's genetic information. And this wasn't some black woman that just was in the best of health or anything like that. This was a random black woman who just came and had immortal cells. Her cellular information was so baffling to scientists that they took it and they kept it without her permission. And they've made billions of dollars off of her genetic information and didn't even tell her children until after she was dead and gone. And I don't think her family is still getting the benefits of her genetic information. And that's another reason why we have to be very choosy of our genetic information, because all of these Ancestry.coms and Family Tree and all that type of stuff, they're stealing our information, y'all. When you sign up for that, there's a small print that says that you're no longer entitled to your genetic information. So once you give over their information, first of all, they stole us from Africa. And then they're telling us that they can let us know where we came from. But they're still stealing, because once we give over our genetic information, they own it now. So how many Henrietta Lacks are there? Because how many of us have given our genetic information to Ancestry.com and all of those different type of things, and now they have it and they own the rights to it. So if they take it to their labs and they find out that your cells are immortal too, they don't have to tell you. Why do they try to get black women's placenta so much? Why do they want it? Why do they tell you? Why do you have to sign a waiver to keep your own placenta? Why? They know that our genetic information is valuable. They know that we are the dopest people on this earth. But we don't know it, and that's what the problem is. We clearly don't know it because we get upset when someone like me says that I'm black first. We get mad at me and say that I'm being divisive. Why don't we say human first? Why don't we do this? Why don't we do that? Why don't you recognize what you are? A God walking on this earth. And while we're letting everyone else steal from us, still to this day. To this day. How many Henrietta Lacks are out there? How many of you all did that? Gave your genetic information over just because you wanted to know where you come from? That's totally understandable. I wanted to know too. But I'd be damned if I hand over my genetic information and they find that whatever I got in me and they use it for their benefit and don't tell me about it. Keep it from me and my children. So that's all I'm saying, y'all. Realize what you are and don't be so quick to remove yourself from being the greatest thing on this earth. Don't be so quick to remove yourself from that. You a God, why you want to stoop down to a man's level? We gods on this earth. And people mad at me just because I'm intelligent enough to know it. Once we all know it, then we'll be in a better place. Y'all will stop thinking that I'm being divisive because I know the power that's just coursing through my veins. I know the power that's in my 23 pairs of chromosomes. I know the power that's in the blood that's flowing through my body. I know the power that's in the hair that's coiling out of my head, defying gravity to grow in an upward motion. I know the power that's in my skin that not only acts as a barrier between radiation, but also is able to filter that through and take the vitamins that's necessary. I know the power. Don't get mad at me because I know what it is and I ain't trying to absolve myself from my blackness. I'm black first. I said it before and I will continue to say it. Before I'm anything else, I'm black. Before I'm anything else, I'm black. And people can say we don't like the word black, but everything was started in black. Everything was started in darkness. We were created out of the triple darkness of this universe. Okay? There's nothing wrong with darkness. There's nothing wrong with black. All right? Now, I know I'm putting on my little serious face, but I just want y'all to know. I was just reading the comments of some of these posts. I'm like, these niggas are really crazy. They really don't get it. They really don't get it, do they? Do a little research on yourself. Do a little research on the human genome and see about that. See about how we have the most, what I'm saying is facts, but if you don't believe me, fact check me. I'm not beyond reproach or reprove. If you think that I'm telling a lie, go look it up. I implore you to go look it up. Go look it up and see if what I'm saying is facts. Go look up natural selection and survival of the fittest. Go look up the human genome. Go look up genetically diverse gene pools. Go look all of that up. You feel me? Y'all go see why England and all of them over there had problems during childbirth. They're the ones who putting us through hell like this. There was a king in England, I'll forget his name, but he said he wanted to see all of his children born, right? He wanted to see all of them born. So he made a rule that women now have to give birth on their back because he wants to be able to see it. They have to work against gravity. So you have all these European women who are dying during childbirth. And at that, they was wearing corsets that was squeezing their organs all up. And then they were too young. A lot of the average childbirth age was 13 years old. So before you start getting on us talking about, pedophilia is a huge thing in the black community, where did we get it from? Where did we get it from? It was a custom to have a wife. Once you got to be about 16, you was too old. Niggas didn't want you. You was too old. So women out there at 13 years old giving birth, and then they giving birth laying on their back, and then they dying because of it. There was such an epidemic in Europe of women dying during childbirth. But we know what's up. You know what I'm saying? We know how valuable we are. We've never had these type of issues. But now in this country, we have a problem. Now there's an epidemic of black women dying during childbirth and having all sorts of ailments and problems and stuff like that. Everything that's in this country is aimed to try to stop us from reproducing. The Teflon in the cookware has a chemical that accumulates in the reproductive organs of women. What? How does everything, the relaxers and stuff that a lot of these black girls are putting on their hair, chemically straighten it, all of that seeps into the skin and accumulates in the ovaries. And we wonder why so many of our women have fibroids and are having all these problems when it comes to giving birth. We have all these sporadic cycles and stuff. If you don't realize that it's a ploy against us by now, then you are either naive or you're stupid. You feel me? You have to start wondering, why is everything set up and stacked against us? Start learning about yourself and start learning about this world. Okay? There's estrogen in everything. Soy is being pushed as a wonderful product. Everybody eats soy. Are you going to get off of meats and stuff? You want to go vegan, but now you have all these problems because niggas is eating soy left and right, knowing that it's death to you. Soy, I don't mess with pork at all. I don't eat the meats and things like that, but I damn sure don't mess with pork. If I was starving to death, I might eat a little chicken, maybe, but I damn sure I would just rather die. And in my opinion, soy is worse than pork. And that's really saying something because I absolutely detest pork and all pork products, right? But we just look at this world and stop thinking that all this kumbaya, we are the world stuff is the solution. Nobody's thinking like that. They're only trying to keep us thinking like that so they can keep tapping into our bank and us not have access to it. Because that's what I said earlier. It's like us, we walking around as black people. We're the most powerful people on this earth and we don't know it. So it's like us having $1 billion in the bank and everyone else has access to it but us. All these companies is making so much money off of us as black people. You know what I'm saying? All of that, And this isn't to take a jab at vegans, just whoever is trying to live a better lifestyle. The reason why I said soy is because I know women personally who have so many reproductive issues because they were trying to live a better lifestyle and eliminate meats and took soy as a replacement. So that's the point I'm making. So I know vegans be getting sensitive sometimes. Ain't nobody coming for y'all. All right, I understand. I understand how important eating is, eating the right things, okay? But back to what I was saying, just let's take the time to learn about ourselves, okay? Learn about ourselves and see why before y'all start calling me cynical, before y'all start calling me divisive and start asking me, why can't we be human first? It would be nice if we lived in a utopian society, but we don't. We don't live in a utopian society. We don't live in a world that where everyone is valued the same. We don't live in that kind of world, y'all. So until we do, we have to be realistic about the world that we live in. And in the world that we live in, we got to be black first. We the only ones that's not like that. Young ain't got the... I'm not like that. I'll say what I have to say. And I'll continue to say it. And I don't care who it offends. Because someone has to have enough courage. Someone has to have enough faith to be able to speak without being afraid. With being able to tell black people what we are and who we are without being afraid. You feel me? And I'm not afraid. I ain't afraid of none of that type of stuff. I'm not afraid of nothing. So I'm going to continue to talk what I'm talking. I'm going to continue to say black first. I'm going to continue to say that black people are the most powerful people on this earth. And I'm not going to buck or bend when I'm saying my voice ain't going to shake or nothing like that because it's true. And I don't give a damn what anybody else got to think about it. You feel me? You can look it up in science. improve what I say. Go look it up, y'all. I'm telling y'all, don't take my word. Don't take anybody's word for nothing. If you feel some type of a way about what I'm saying, go look it up. Go look it up. I implore you all to go research Henrietta Lacks. She's a random black woman who had the most powerful genetic information this world has ever seen. And she's not an exception to the rule. That's something that's common among us black people because we have the most diverse gene pool this world has ever seen. And this is not opinion. This is facts. This is science. Okay? This is biology, one of my favorite subjects. So that's all I have to say about that. Okay? I don't go back on what I say, and I'm not going to start. In this world of apologizing and walking on eggshells to not offend people, I say, damn that. I said what I said. And I'm going to stand behind what I said. We the most powerful. If you don't believe me, research it until you know it's true. Okay? And that's all I have to say. You guys enjoy the rest of your Monday night. I'll be back talking to y'all next Monday. Hopefully about some other issues. Hopefully I won't be irritated because today I was irritated today. Looking at the comments, I was like, oh, y'all are crazy. Y'all mad at me because I have enough sense to love myself.